are kidding, Mr. Young, if you think we're on the run.
So 3 years after voting to leave the EU, we're voting in EU elections. Funny that, isn't it?
I've just got a feeling they're going to keep on voting until they get the answer they want.
It's almost like the EU is a Byzantine corrupt authoritarian dictatorship that's so mafia-like it doesn't allow countries to leave and laughs about turning them into colonies.
We finally turned them into a colony, and that was our plan from the first moment.
Who wouldn't want to be part of that?
If you want to sign up to be ruled by a f***ing mafia, you do it.
EU is peace, EU is freedom, EU is solidarity, EU is diversity.
From where Winston stood, it was just possible to read, picked out on its white face in elegant lettering, the three slogans of the party. War is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength.
It's almost like we've seen this somewhere before.
It is really puzzling to me that having just buried one monster, the Soviet Union, another remarkably similar one, the European Union, is being built. Exactly what is the European Union? Perhaps by examining the Soviet version we can get the answer. The Soviet Union was governed by 15 unelected people who appointed each other and who were not accountable to anyone. The European Union is governed by 24 people who appoint each other, meet in secret, and are not accountable to anyone, and whom we cannot sack.
To understand this election, let's contrast the two political parties with the most divergent views on Brexit: Change UK and the Brexit Party. Change UK, or CUCK, is the party that supports the status quo and doesn't want to change anything. Did the same galaxy brain behind that name come up with your logo? Barcode EU, the anti-independence group.
I wouldn't touch either of you with a barge pole. I'm not at all sure about your lot either. I'm so disenfranchised.
Meanwhile, the Brexit Party, the party that represents the people that want to leave the EU, a party which was launched only 5 weeks ago, is creaming every other party, including in some polls, Labour and the Tories combined.
You're not laughing now, are you?
While CUCK, the party that represents the people who want to stay in the EU, is polling so low some outlets have stopped even bothering to include it on charts.
We are the party of the people's vote.
No, you're not. You're the party of shitty logos and even shittier PR. You're the party of stuffy metropolitan elitists who fret over Pret.
For anybody else here who works in London, who would be serving our coffee in Pret? Who would be selling us our sandwiches in Pret? You're not going...
Because who cares about the intrinsic principles of sovereignty and freedom when there's a chance you might be inconvenienced by a lack of cheap foreign slave labour?
Who would be serving our coffee in Pret?
You're the party of that weirdo hands woman.
Can you just look at your hands, please? That's it. It's there. That's the answer.
We are the party of the people's vote.
We already had a people's vote. And you lost.
Norway never joined. What are you talking about?
It was in 2015.
What are you talking about?
The lies that you told.
I said no deal is better than a bad deal, Anna. I argued it all through the referendum, day after day after day. You clearly weren't listening. You never do you?
Can I just say...
Compare the enthusiasm. This is a Farage Brexit Party event. Not quite, but this is a Farage Brexit Party event. And this is a Change UK event. Yeah, I've seen more energy at an Insomniacs group therapy session. I've seen more energy in Jean-Claude Juncker's bodily movements after yet another early morning booze sesh. Farage, meanwhile, well, he seems as frisky as ever.
Have you been to Oldham?
I have, yes.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's go this week, shall we? And let's go this week.
I will go to Oldham.
And I will show you.
One of my testicles.
And beyond the Euro elections, the Brexit Party is now just 5 points behind Labour for the next national election. The message is clear. If the Tories don't fulfil the biggest democratic mandate in British history and remove the UK from the EU, we'll remove the Tories from Westminster. You shat the bed over Brexit here, Nigel Farage. How about Prime Minister Nigel Farage? Let's take a second to remind ourselves what we're up against by listening to Guy Verhofstadt, The dude who said Brexiteers might end up on the guillotine. Oh, but that whole conspiracy about the EU being a brainchild of the Nazis, that was just nonsense, right? Because a German-run superstate rapaciously trying to subsume surrounding countries as it ignores their right to self-determination ended when we defeated Hitler. Right?
That is the real problem, colleagues. Why there is such a problem in this crisis? Because member states are reluctant to transfer new sovereignty and powers to the European Union. And we all know that the only way out of this crisis is a new transfer of powers to the European Union and to the European institutions.
The only way out of this is a transfer of new powers.
There's a new transfer of powers to the European Union.
They spit upon democracy by asserting Brexit voters belong in hell.
What that special place in hell looks like for those who promoted Brexit.
By insisting that the UK is property of the EU, like slaves on a plantation.
The European Union and Britain is one thing. The United Kingdom belongs to the European Union.
Because just like the mafia, once you agree to join, you can never leave.
Right, my friend is from another country and she came in, she was like, can you please explain what everyone is annoyed about with this whole Brexit thing? I said, look, imagine if you and 10 of your friends were in a Burger King. Right, and you said, listen, who wants to leave the Burger King? And 6 people were like, we want to leave the Burger King. And then somebody who didn't want to leave the Burger King was like, I'll get us out there. I'll have a word with the manager. I'll get us a deal. It's like, do we need a deal? Come on, no, you can't leave without a deal, I'll get a deal. You want to leave? Yeah, I'm going to get us a deal, right? So she goes to talk to the manager. She comes back 2 years later. She's been trying to leave. The door says push. She's pulling that thing. Can't get us out. She goes, great news. I've done us a deal to leave. What's the deal? We've got to pay the manager £40 billion. And then we get to leave? Technically, yes. What do you mean, technically? Well, physically, we'll still be in the Burger King. But if anyone asks you, are you in Burger King, you'll be able to tell them, no, we left.
And how did the supporters of this odious oligarchy conduct themselves? Because if you can't be bothered to craft an actual political message that resonates with voters, just throw milkshakes like toddlers having a tantrum because they wet their nappies in McDonald's. Yeah, good luck with that. That awkward moment when you run out of actual political arguments. Also, why do they always look like this? Too many soy milkshakes for this big boy. Still, at least he finally gets to get laid. In prison. But according to the BBC, this wasn't assault. No. He was just expressing his opinion.
In his own way, a 32-year-old man who's been arrested in Newcastle today was expressing his views about the Brexit Party too in no uncertain terms, because Nigel Farage, leader of the Brexit Party, had a milkshake thrown all over him.
Man yells mean word at Anna Soubry. Week-long media hysteria campaign, nationwide moral panic, dude doxed and banned from London. Lefty assaults Farage. Lol, you mad bro? Your milkshakes bring all the votes to the yard and I'm like, no, that's Farage. Maybe if you were as enthusiastic about voting as you seem to be about lobbing milkshakes at people like spoiled brats, Farage wouldn't be about to enjoy a crushing victory. Farage slurping on a giant milkshake in celebration on Friday morning. Imagine those optics. But it was Burger King who tacitly endorsed political violence with this tweet. Because nothing says grassroots organic resistance like having one of the biggest transnational corporations on the planet shill for your cause. Foreign multinational megacorp spreading diabetes, obesity and poor animal welfare endorses violence against British fringe politicians. Make sure you're on the right side. Let's get real. If right-of-centre news outlets and huge corporations were tacitly endorsing assault, and yes, milkshaking is assault, people have been arrested for it, against lefties, there'd be uproar. Boycotts, protest marches. But the left behaves like that and it's all, lol snowflake, are you afraid of milkshakes? It's okay when we do it. Give me a break. If you lot were getting milkshaked by Brexit Party supporters, you'd all be having hissy fits like Nazi panzer tanks had just invaded. But hey bro, it's just a milkshake. It's not as if actual racists once poured milkshakes over the heads of black civil rights protesters, is it? Oh. It's okay when we do it. Those making light of milkshake assaults are the same idiots who had nervous breakdowns over someone saying mean things to Owen Jones. Because remember, Remainers are all about tolerance. Staying in the EU was about love. I mean, they're so loving, they'll literally side with Islamist thugs who throw bricks at children. So loving. But then freak out over that spicy Sargon tweet from 2016. Also, is it really a good idea to be normalising political violence when most of you look like this? Good luck with that. According to them, as long as the right people are being violently assaulted, political violence is morally just. It's okay when we do it. If the Brexit vote was a repudiation of the political class in Europe, a victory for the Brexit Party will be a repudiation of the political class in Britain. A repudiation of the insufferable pompousness and sanctimonious arrogance of the London metropolitan elite, who have nothing but contempt for ordinary people. A repudiation of the Labour Party, which has completely abandoned the working class. A repudiation of the shameful assertion that older Brits shouldn't have a say in how their country is governed. A country they fought for, invested in, and kept sacrosanct. A repudiation of the claim that all Brexit supporters are racist. A claim made by the same upper middle class white people, most of whom live in London, who choose to send their kids to the whitest school possible. A repudiation of this deceitful, dancing clown. A repudiation of the condescending, glib mantra that people had regret and didn't know what they were voting for. The polls clearly show that yes, they did know what they were voting for. And on May 23rd, the political establishment in Britain will be left in no doubt as to the demands of the British people once again. It's absolutely crucial for us to stay in touch that you subscribe to my free newsletter right now at summit.news/newsletter. Link in description.